Hey, looking here at two albums I picked up over the last 6 months. This one just the last week, this one about 6 months ago. John Cougar Mellencamp, or Mellencamp, I think he calls himself just nowadays, without the Cougar. An American rock artist. I see they the way they describe his music as Heartland Rock, the heartland of the country, and he started in the 1970s. I guess the 1980s was his commercial peak, but he's continued through the 90s and he's still making music today. And I've got American Fool and the Lonesome Jubilee. This one here, you can see the previous owner of this has stamped their name with an ink stamp. N and Mary Mitchell, some sort of road. Actually, Birkenhead. Birkenhead is a suburb of the city. So you also see they've written their name, Mitchell. They really didn't want to have their CD stolen. And they went to the point of writing and stamping their names on them, which seems like a bit of an overkill, to be honest, but who am I to judge? So this was his big breakthrough album. He had sold pretty well before this. In the late 70s, I think the album before this, he I think he went platinum. But this is 5 times platinum in America. This is the one that has Hurt So Good and Jack and Diane, 2 of his biggest songs. Maybe Jack and Diane is his biggest song. That or Small Town, which is on the album after this, I'd say would be his biggest songs. The Kid Inside. No, the Aha. Anyway, it's a good album, good solid album. This is the original 1982 pressing. You see on the liner notes, very sparse. This whole page here is just care instructions for the CD. So this came out in 1982. That first generation of CDs where they felt they needed to give some information to people on how to care for the CD. There he is. There's a young man. It's just got the musicians who played with him. No one I recognize. Larry Crane, I think I've heard of him. Here's his fan club. But when we say Heartland Rock, what does that mean? Well, to me, it means he uses, especially as the 80s went on, he infuses his music with traditional instruments, more like the banjo and the violin, fiddle, accordion, things like that. More so on this one, the Lonesome Jubilee. If you look at some of so this is also original 87 pressing. If you look at the personnel on this and the instruments that they play, you see it's quite a wide range of. That guy there's the drummer. I saw him in a lot of videos. So we've got drums, tambourine, dulcimer, conga, acoustic guitar, pedal steel, lap steel, mandolin, harmonica, auto harp, banjo, accordion, melodica, penny whistle, fiddle, banjo, tambourine. Yeah, so he's obviously using a number of different traditional instruments that add to the sound, give it that heartland sound, I guess. But more so than that is the lyrical themes, content of his songs. I read a quote that he says he writes. Actually, I don't want to. I'll completely butcher it if I try and recount it. Basically, he's saying he writes stories of everyday people and the struggles they go through. And Jack and Diane, I guess, is a good example of that. Where it's a couple who get married, or no, maybe not get married. Yeah, they do get married, and when they're still just out of high school, and how that's what used to happen. I guess things have changed now, but this album, like I said, I think I prefer this album. Paper and Fire, check it out. Cherry Bomb are the singles and the ones that you would still hear on rock radio today. Check It Out is probably one of my favorite songs by him, if not my favorite song. It uses, in this album particularly, he uses this combination of accordion and violin fiddle at the same time. At the start of that song, Check It Out, and also on the other single, Cherry Bomb. Because when I was listening to the other day, I was like, what is making that noise? The part goes, the main kind of melody. And I was like, what is, that's not a guitar, obviously. What is it? And then I was watching the video, and you can see in the video, it's someone playing the violin and accordion, and as well as the other instruments together. But that's the main source of that particular sound. And he uses that a lot throughout the album. I've always kind of seen him as a Midwest Bruce Springsteen. You know, Springsteen is the voice of, New Jersey, East Coast, a kind of East Coast working class, Rust Belt type personality and the stories of those people. And whereas John Cougar Mellencamp is more of the Midwest, there's more countryside, rural farming, as well as the dead industry of the Rust Belt. I think he is from Indiana, which that's part of the Rust Belt, isn't it? Indiana, Ohio, Michigan, up through Pennsylvania, New York, upstate New York. But his sound has got more of a country feel to it. And maybe that's another part of the Heartland moniker put upon his music, roots. He's prolific, because I was looking at his discography, and he started, his debut album was 76. These are the years he's released an album. 76, 78, 79. So I know in the late 70s, it was still like Kiss, I think, as well, where they were releasing album after album. 80, 82, 83, 83, 85, 87, 89. So he's no more than 2 years between releases. 91, 93, 94, 96, 98, 99. So it's either 1 or 2 years throughout the 90s, 2001, 2003. Now, he has a big gap between 2003, 2007. Something maybe he wanted to have a rest. And he's still doing pretty well. During that time, it's not like the 80s where he's going 5 times platinum, but all his albums throughout the 90s were all going platinum, at least, right through 98, gold, 2001 gold, so he's kind of slowing down now, but 2007, 2008, 10, 14, 4 years, 2017, 2018, and then 2022. So he's slowed down in the 2000s and 10s and 20s, but so the 80s and 90s, he was absolutely prolific. An album every 2 years at a minimum, sometimes every year, or just 1 year gap. Sold 60 million albums worldwide. So when I was younger, when I was a music fan in my teens, to be honest, I didn't really like his music. It was just so commonly, he was just so always on the radio. Jack and Diane, Small Town, all those songs, Hurt So Good, Crumbling Down Pink Houses, Lonely All Night. You would hear them anytime you turn on the rock radio. You would hear them. He was big in New Zealand. But in the last 10 years, I came to kind of appreciate him more. I don't know, maybe he's getting older. And just now, it just kind of occurred to me, he was giving an interview that I read just recently, and he was saying that a 21-year-old can't understand his music. The things he writes about, you have to have had something pass through your life, some kind of tragedy or life experience to be able to get it. Maybe he didn't say that exactly, but it was just when I was just saying that I didn't like him when I was young. Maybe that was why. But yeah, he's I think a great artist. And he's put out a lot of good music. And I'm glad I have these 2 albums, even though this one has been stamped. I don't really care. I'm not looking to sell it or anything. He uses a quote here from the Bible, Ecclesiastes. How do you say that? Ecclesiastes. I should know this. I went to Catholic school. Ecclesiastes. Yeah, I'm not saying it right. I know that. Generations come and go, but it makes no difference. The sun rises and sets in hurries, around to rise again. The wind blows south and north, here and there, twisting back and forth, getting nowhere. The rivers run into the sea, but the sea is never full, and the water returns again to the rivers and flows again to the sea. Everything is unutterably weary and tiresome. No matter how much we see, we are never satisfied. No matter how much we hear, we are never content. We are not content. So I saw that there is nothing better for men than that they should be happy in their work, for that is what they are here for. And no one can bring them back to life to enjoy what will be in the future, so let them enjoy it now. Deep, eh? Maybe he comes back to again, he writes about the everyman, the working man. Maybe that's not the Bible. Ecclesiastes, maybe he's a Greek poet or philosopher, I don't know. What a Philistine, eh? I should know this. Anyway, Cougar Mellencamp. John Mellencamp. Great American artist. Great American songwriter. Thank you for watching.